days around.
Hello and welcome to the Tottenham America channel. Today we'll be giving you our instant reactions on Tottenham's 0-0 draw at home in the round of 16 second leg tie with AC Milan as Spurs get knocked out with an aggregate score of 0-1 as the Brahim Diaz goal last time out against them at the San Siro was the all-important goal for AC Milan and the goal which brought them through to the quarterfinals. So there were no goals in the game today. Really, the only big highlights, the first half was very boring to watch from a spectator's view. Really, one chance coming for AC Milan. Spurs were pretty much controlling possession, but Spurs did not look adventurous at all in the first half. Really poor first half from Spurs, but came out in the second half really well. Tottenham all of a sudden having some really good chances, and Pedro Porro coming on around the 50th minute right after the break really changed up the game. Pedro Porro making a huge impact, and then where it almost all went wrong for us was when Christian Romero got a red card for a quite unnecessary tackle in the 78th minute. Theo Hernandez was on the touchline, and Romero just goes in for an unnecessary tackle. The ball is pretty much going out of play, and he makes a very unnecessary tackle, kind of injures himself in the process, and we are down to 10 men after we were looking so good at the start of the second half. That's almost what ruined it. Christian Romero, he was decent today, steady with the ball, pretty solid at the back, but that red card and his tackling today were little off. Normally his tackling, his slide tackles, his energy and stuff like that brings something to Spurs that we don't have. But Christian Romero, sometimes he puts it over the line. He goes over the line a little bit, and we've seen this is his second red card in 2 months, which is pretty bad for him. He's also gotten a lot of yellow cards for Spurs this season, and 2 red cards for him now. So Romero, he needs to calm down, stop going in on those rash challenges that are quite unnecessary, and he kind of needs to control himself. But that is how the match ended. Another highlight was in the 94th minute when Son delivered a pretty good ball. Kane, Riz, and put a header on goal, and Mike Maignan made a brilliant save to deny him. And then it started coming the other way. Brahim Diaz broke with or was it Brahim Diaz? I'm not sure. But AC Milan broke on the counterattack. Eventually found its way to Origi, who hit the post, and Fraser Forster was able to gobble it up afterwards. But that is how the match ended, 0-0, 1-0 on aggregate to AC Milan. Spurs are out of the Champions League, and AC Milan advanced to the quarterfinals. It was really a mirrored first half performance from our second half. Second half, we came out of the dressing room looking all fired up, creating a lot of good chances, really energetic. We were really alert. We actually looked like we wanted to be adventurous in attack and actually win the game instead of not really doing anything. We looked like Chelsea almost in the first half. Chelsea, when we played them, they were just keeping possession, not being adventurous at all, just passing around. They were almost acting like it was a possession game, and it's not. We don't have to score goals. Like in the first half, we were acting like we had a 3-0 lead, but we didn't. It was 0-0, and we were behind 1-0 on aggregate. But the second half was really good. I think on Antonio Conte's behalf, I think it was a really good decision to bring in Pedro Porro for Perisic in the 53rd minute. But I think where a lot of stuff went wrong was after Guti's red card, and then Davinson Sanchez came on for Dejan Kulusevski in the 83rd minute, which I think was the worst decision ever. Because we were chasing this game. We want to get into the quarterfinals of the Champions League. And we bring off probably our brightest attacker in the game for Davinson Sanchez. Yes, we did need a defender back there, but we could have brought off someone else. We could have brought off Son because he was not having a great game either. Kane was having an okay game. He had some chances here and there. Never really got on the ball much, but Son was not having that good of a day, except for some of his deliveries late in the game. So we could have brought Son off for Sanchez. It's not the fact that we brought Sanchez off that annoys me. It's bringing Kulusevski off. He shouldn't have gone off. He was our brightest attacker. He was looking so good in those late stages. And he was actually linking with Pedro Porro really well on that right-hand side. Typically, he links really well with Emerson Royale, but this time he's also linking really well with Pedro Porro. So that was pretty good from us. We were always going down the right-hand side, and I thought Pedro Porro was excellent today. He was firing up the crowd, making some great dribbles, and also had some good deliveries. He did have one free kick. It was quite from an awkward position. He hit the wall, but I didn't really expect him to score from there. He did better than Kane would have done, I'll say that. But I don't think there was a way he could have scored from that free kick he took. It was from a really awkward angle. He probably never really practices in training. But Pedro Porro had a pretty decent game after coming off the bench. Moving on to our midfield, I think Skip and Højbjerg were decent. I think Højbjerg was definitely better than Skip. Skip was decent. Second half, he had a lot of intensity in him. Højbjerg had even more intensity than Skip. And the two in midfield did really well until Guti got the red card and we brought Kulu off for Sanchez. Then our whole rhythm up front kind of got messed up. So that's where everything fell apart for us. That's when Spurs fans started to leave the stadium because that's when our hopes were lost. Perisic on the left-hand side, I was surprised ever since we had that 2-game win streak against Chelsea and against West Ham where Ben Davies started at left wing back. I'm surprised we haven't started Ben Davies at left wing back ever since because it worked out so good, and I don't know why we just deserted that tactic. That's kind of Conte's stubbornness there to start Perisic because Perisic he was with at Inter Milan. He wasn't as bad today, Perisic, but recently he's been really out of form. Son and Kane up top were not great. Kulusevski was our only good attacking player. Romero, Longley, Davies were decent in the first half. They had not much to do. Romero, I would say, was definitely a little lower because of his rash challenging. He needs to learn how to control himself. And Forster made some good saves, some key saves that kept us in the tie. For when Origi hit the post and if Forster didn't gobble that up, which was pretty tricky for him, coming off the post, he has his back towards the ball and he has to react really quickly to gobble that ball up, and he does well there because AC Milan could have sealed it right there and made it 2-0 on aggregate, which just piles the misery on us. And Forster also making some other good saves during the game to restore our hope of even getting into the quarterfinals. But yeah, we really did well in the second half, but not in the first half. If we played like we played in the second half and the first half, then the game would have been so much different. Because if we played in the second half how we played in the second half from the start of the game, we could have had more time to adapt more time to do things, more time to score, and we need to start with that intensity. It's like when we were back in the fall where we'd always go behind in the first half and come back and win it. It's almost like that all over again. So, and in conclusion, it's just like inconsistency coming back at us with Conte. So, Conte, a lot of questions going around whether he will stay or leave Spurs this summer, which his contract does run out this summer. So he literally only has maybe upwards of 10 games at Spurs left if he never renews his contract. So yeah, big problems at Spurs right now. Inconsistency is our main problem. But yeah, that is it for our instant reactions on Tottenham's 0-0 draw against AC Milan as Spurs got knocked out of the Champions League 1-0 on aggregate. Hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you like the video, subscribe, comment down below your thoughts on the game, and until next time, come on you Spurs!